All right, everybody. Welcome. 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 We are roughly 6 days away from July 1st, which is when we'll have our 32 and 31. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited. We've been doing this for the last couple Julys, and it's been great. It's been wonderful. We talk football, we talk predictions, we talk rosters, and we talk about the upcoming season. So if you have not, make sure that you do subscribe for that and make sure that you're here for July 1st. It's going to be a great time. We'll cover all 32 teams over the 31 days, 8 p.m. every night. Every night. It's going to be great. We'll do it live. So make sure that you are here, ladies and gentlemen. With that said, shout out to you guys. Much love to the Wrench Gang. Much love to the family, all the listeners, all the watchers. Glad to be back as we give a little promo here for the 32 and 31. I'm excited for this season for a couple of reasons. I think that we're in for some really good football. We're in for some, I want to say, easy, competitive, right? Easy, competitive football to the point where we don't really have a true dominant team coming into next season. It's going to be really great. With that said, I had a couple topics I wanted to get into today. Uh, Shout out to you, James. What up, man? What's going on with you, bro? How you doing? I wanted to get into a couple topics today with you guys. You guys know how we do. We chop it up. So the first one, the first one that I wanted to get into here was this picture that you guys see to the, well, this would be to my left. So there you go. Yeah. To the left of me, and it's Joe Burrow. Now, obviously, I don't have the full context of this picture and why it exists. I seen it on my feed, and it was in a video. I seen the video on my feed. They were just walking, and it's a picture of Joe Burrow with his back out. Yes. Now, we're gonna start this one with a bang. Um, so obviously, I'm assuming it's some kind of like fashion event, right? Hey, I get it. Some of these guys love to dress up, do crazy things. Um, but at some point, right? At some point, we really got to start asking ourselves what the hell is going on with the wardrobes and the decision making and the people who dress these individuals who are worth millions of dollars. Now, a suit obviously is a suit, and we respect the sanctity of the suit, right? The blazer, the pants, the shirt, the tie, the whole thing, right? The belt, the shoes. It's a staple. It's a staple of who you are. It's a respectable thing in regards to fashion. Now, when you have a suit with the back open, that sanctity is completely gone. When you have a suit with your back out, right? The whole meaning of the suit is gone. All the respect has diminished into a questionable situation because now we have to ask why the hell is Joe Burrow's back out on a hot summer day? So, ladies and gentlemen, my question to you is why why would this man choose to wear this? I've been saying this for a while now, right? When NFL players get the money, they seem to not only lose the focus, lose the drive, but things just change. And I'm not saying that's all NFL players. I'm saying that's, some of them, some NFL players tend to just, kind of change and go off the deep end and everything that they were before they got the big contract, it kind of just diminishes little by little. It just changes the drive, the competitive spirit, how they handled themselves in the beginning of the game. All of that changes, and then you just randomly one day see them in attire like this with their back out, or they start wearing like super bright colors and things like that. Let me get into these comments. Shout out to you, Lisa. Says Jay, the Ravens need to play ticked off after what Casey did to us. What say you? So, yeah, I think that the Ravens are definitely going to be highly competitive for a number of reasons. I'd say the number one thing is you've got Derrick Henry now, right? And a lot of people like to say, well, Derrick Henry's old and he's not going to have that same kind of step and that same kind of power. I'll tell you this right now. I think Derrick Henry is going to be huge for the fact of he still has speed. He still has power. The man is still an asset to any team that he'd be on. And it's really unfortunate that the Titans let him go, but hey, it's a great thing for the Ravens. So the question is, who's really going to be able to stop that man on the Kansas City defense? Now, obviously, you're going to have the same question as Pacheco because Pacheco is great. Who's going to stop Pacheco on the Ravens defense? Well, we're going to have to hope that obviously, the Ravens defense is up to the task as well. But yeah, I think they're going to do great. I think at the same time, giving Lamar that second option for the defense to have to focus on, that's going to create some confusion, and it's actually going to basically give the Ravens an upper hand in a lot of situations. So we're going to talk about the Ravens and all 32 teams over the next 31 days in July. We'll cover them all in depth. We're going to spend an hour or two on each team individually. We're going to break everything down and get you guys ready for the upcoming season, and I'm excited for it for sure. Chris Hall, what up, man? What's going on with you, bro? Chris Hall in the house. Jonas says King Henry is playing in a different division. Thought. I really don't think that matters. I don't think it matters for a couple of reasons. I think that if you've established yourself as an elite individual, which he is an elite back, it really doesn't matter if you change divisions. Obviously there's going to be some changes that you have to learn with any playbook on any team that you decide to go to. But I don't think it really matters. I think if you are who you are, you're going to go out there, you're going to ball out, you're going to do what you have to do. Koya, what up? What's going on with you? Jonas says no OBJ. Yeah, I think OBJ is kind of one of those individuals where at this point he's looking for the paycheck, right? He's looking for the paycheck. He's trying to get a couple extra dollars. He may come out on the field and, snag a couple passes just to, basically show that he was worth what he was paid. But I don't really see OBJ being a factor as far as moving forward. I could be wrong. He could have some some second wind in his career, but I don't think he's going to be a true factor. Steelers have TJ Watt and Queen. Yeah, but the big problem is whether or not they're going to stay healthy, right? We've seen it last year that the Steelers were great, and then obviously you have a situation with someone gets injured, and then the team just kind of like breaks apart. But also, the Steelers are going to have their own, I want to say, quandary, right? Because if you look at Russell Wilson and what Justin Fields are able to do, it's two different skill sets. So I think Tom is going to have to figure out, what kind of scheme specifically is going to work for the Steelers offense. And, because if you're looking for the better passing game and you want to focus on your passing game with that offense, well, obviously you want to go Russell Wilson. If you want to go more of like a, run and throw game, then obviously you're probably going to focus more so on Justin Fields. So I think with the Steelers, the biggest problem is, at least for Tom, is figuring out what kind of offense they're going to run and how that's going to basically fare in regards to their schedule and what they got coming up. Chris Hall says everybody needs to push the like. Yeah, push the like. I know you guys, it ain't been too long. You ain't forget to hit that like, hit that thumbs up. Shout out to you guys. Kojak says no OBJ. Henry would be better since he won't be the sole weapon focus of defense. Yeah, and so that's why I say, like, when you think about Derrick Henry with the Ravens offense, he's going to be that person that can create that confusion. Because if you have a situation where Lamar's dropping back, obviously you got Henry in on the block, if Lamar drops back right, well, that whole defensive line's going to shift. And if you send Henry off in motion, obviously, that's going to create some confusion. So there's different things that the Ravens are going to be able to do when it comes to creating confusion in the defense and whether or not Lamar can, release that ball on a long pass or get Henry going on, a screen play. It's going to be a lot of stuff that they can do. And I think Harbaugh's gonna enjoy that for sure. For sure. Daniel, what up, man? What's going on with you? Jonas says there is a better defense players in the North than the South, so Henry could have his work cut out for him. You know, I kind of agree with you, but I think at the same time, Henry's not one of the new running backs, right? He's still from that different cloth. He's one of the last running backs that was cut from that different cloth that'll run people over and hit them with a strong stiff arm and move them out the way. A lot of these guys now that are on defense, they're leaner. They're don't get me wrong, they're strong, but they're a lot more lean. And Henry's big. Henry's big. We can't deny that. We can't forget about that. Henry's a big guy. So I think at the end of the day, it's I don't think it's Henry having the work cut out for him. I think it's more so, you know, the defense having the work cut out for them because he's one of the true running backs left with a lot of power for sure. Henry not running Miles Garrett. Hmm. I don't know. That'll be a good one. That'll be a good one to see. I'm gonna pay attention to that one, Jonas, because I think that'll be a good one. I think they might be evenly matched. Miles Garrett is strong, but at the same time, he's not as fast. So I think it's gonna be a game of if Miles Garrett can really wrap him up, then yeah, he may be able to get some working on him. But if Henry gets that step, that strength doesn't matter. That strength doesn't matter. Lisa says, "How will Josh Orr do as our new defensive coordinator, and will he have a nastier defense?" So, I mean, the Ravens have all normally always had a good to decent defense. I think this year, with the adjustments that they'll make as far as with Josh, I think they'll be able to go in there and not only do better, but truly be dominant. Because I think there's a lot of chips on the table for the Ravens right now. Because to be honest, I think that the Ravens really, really didn't do what they were supposed to do last year from the offensive side of things. I think Lamar Jackson didn't struggle towards the end, but he wasn't all there, you know. And it was sad because Mark Andrews came back, and with the Ravens, he just didn't. It just didn't make sense because we all said, well, Mark Andrews is out, so when he comes back, well, the Ravens are going to do amazing. Well, the Ravens found a way to win without Mark Andrews, and then when Mark Andrews came back, it was kind of like the offense shifted to get him back in it, and that kind of cost them whatever momentum or chemistry they had, and it maybe left Lamar Jackson a little, off with what was going to happen, especially so deep into the season in the postseason. Nevertheless, um, but yeah, I think with the defense specifically, they're going to be great regardless. I think it's really going to boil down to the offense staying healthy, obviously, and then Lamar Jackson being able to get through these big moments and actually show everybody that he's capable of doing it. Chris Hall says, come on, let's go. All the way this year, number one, undefeated. We'll see, man. We'll see. Jones says Henry has to stay healthy and save all this year. That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm not denying the fact that, Henry is obviously getting to the later years of his career. But I do think that if he's training correctly and he's putting in the time with his diet and he's doing what he needs to do to stay conditioned, then he'll be fine when he steps out on that field and he'll be able to still be a worthy opponent and a true asset to the Ravens offense. Kirk says, I just can't wait till Tom Brady debuts as a commentator. Listen, I think Tom Brady going out there and really giving a different aspect and different vibe to the game is what people need at this point, right? We've we've had the Troy Aikmans, right? We've had the Bucks out there. We've had, these people that have basically, we've watched the game with and listened to all these years. And so for Tom Brady to come in, I think that's going to provide a breath of fresh air to the game. I think that's going to improve the ratings for Fox. I think that's going to I think that's going to definitely help out, for the true football enthusiasts, right? To hear from a different angle. Um, Now, obviously, I'm still gonna be doing my thing, right? Y'all still got to come listen to Jay because I'm the best on YouTube for sure. But hands down, Tom Brady is just, he was the best at it. So to hear him actually commentate the games and things like that, it's gonna be a sight to see for sure, for sure. Cameron says my way too early Super Bowl prediction is Lions versus Baltimore. Baltimore wins by 10. Uh, Listen, I'm not gonna hate on you for that, not at all, because I feel like at the end of the day, those are two teams that can potentially get it done. Those are two teams that may actually be able to get there and make it happen. I mean, with Campbell, you obviously have the issue of him making, sometimes irrational decisions, right? Not thinking things through logically, being a little hot rod when it comes to the decisions. But I think this or the last season was his, turning point in figuring things out. Like, hey, maybe I don't need to keep going for it on fourth down when I get a couple flags going my way. Or, maybe I don't need to make this decision that's going to force us into, a do or die situation. So I'm thinking that maybe he has learned in regards to those kind of situations from last year, and then he's going to apply that into this year. But I don't think he's going to completely remove who he is from the game because even though he made decisions to cost the Lions in the later parts of the season, I think that that's the same individual that got the team there. So he's going to have to find the balance, right? He's going to have to find the balance. He's going to have to find a way to say, hey, yes, my aggression and my energy is the reason why I was able to get this Lions team as far as I did. But I also have to know when and how to create balance in my own mind when I'm making these decisions so I don't cost our team these games down the road. Without a doubt. Joyce B, what up, yo? What's going on with you? Joyce B in the house. Lisa says, I prefer Jim Nance and Tony Romo over Ian Eagle because he's so boring. Listen, everybody has their favorite commentators, for sure. I think at some point, I liked hearing, Troy call the game, and I liked hearing, Buck call the game. And, I think at some point, Al Michaels, at some point, these guys grow on you, you know, and you may hate hearing some people because their voice annoys you, and you may not like the way they call the plays and the jokes that they make and some of the stupid shit they say sometimes. But eventually, if when you see these guys on the TV long enough, they grow on you. And but yeah, I think Romo, yeah, he's definitely been great. So that's gonna be interesting to see. Joyce says, Dan Gamble we trust. Yeah, Dan Campbell for sure. Um, Chris says, what Keon? Do you think he's going to do replacing Diggs? I'll be honest with you, and I wanted to wait until we get into this in July, but we can talk about it now. It's fine. We'll talk about it then, and we'll talk about it now. So it's for me, when it comes to Keon, I don't think there's a replacement for Stephon Diggs. I think Keon Coleman is going to be his own player, and I say that because we don't actually have real tape on Keon yet. A real we don't have any real deciding film on Keon yet to say yes, he's going to be the sole replacement for Diggs. Just like we don't have a true replacement for Gabe Davis. I don't care how you feel about Gabe or Stephon Diggs in regards to their playing. You guys know exactly how I felt about Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, respectively, in those individuals. But I will say this: when it comes to the decision making and when it comes to the talent on the field for Stephon Diggs, there is no replacing him unless you have someone that is at an elite level in their career. That's just the reality of it. When you bring on Stephon Diggs, you brought on an elite level talent. So when it comes to Keon being a rookie coming in, you're hoping and you're expecting him to be great, not knowing that he's elite and great. So that's going to be the big difference as far as what we expect from Keon. So right now, I don't have an expectation. I hope that he can go out there and be great and learn this offense and build chemistry with Josh Allen. Do I think that's going to happen? I'm not sure because we just don't have that on tape yet. We don't have any game time scenarios. We don't have any, fourth quarter 2-minute drills where we watch as far as how he's able to perform under pressure. We don't have any of those on tape yet, so it's hard to say whether or not he's actually going to be the Stephon Diggs replacement. We'll see. We'll see. Fadis is ready for the season. Me too, man. Me too. Jonas says, I love that new man in Buffalo. Hey, a lot of people do. A lot of people do. Tactical says, good morning. What up? Good morning, Tactical. Shout out to you, man. Jonas says, you care more for Diggs or Davis than Diggs. That's a fact. That's a fact. And people know why, right? I care more for Davis than Diggs because Diggs had the issue with the attitude and the locker room shenanigans. Davis was the individual who went out there, he worked hard, he played. And for the most part, he, kept a level head and he was a team player. And so that's why Davis was more of a favorite for me than Diggs. That doesn't mean that I didn't respect Diggs as far as his game because I did. But at some point, the diva moments and the shenanigans overshadowed his talent, and especially when his talent started to fall off. So, that speaks for itself. Damon, what up, yo? What's going on with you? Jonas says, man, his college film, he looks remarkable. So yes and no, because the college film was only for what, 2 years? If we go look at the college film, it's for what time frame? 2 years? If I'm not mistaken. Darv says, I think the lack of distractions will help. Yeah, so that's another side of things, right? The lack of distractions as far as whether or not this Bills team can overcome, obviously, the change in the team, but the building of the chemistry, a new defensive coordinator. There's a lot that we have to digest. We'll obviously get to everything that we need to in July, which ironically, when we're doing the 32 and 31, the Bills are on July 4th. So if you have not, make sure that you do subscribe. It's going to be amazing. Red, white, and blue on the 4th. Amazing how that works, right? So we'll be covering the Bills on July 4th for our 32 and 31 because we do it A through Z. So A through alphabetical because there's no Z team, but alphabetical order. So the Bills will be on the 4th. But yeah, I think in a nutshell, there's going to be a lot that goes into whether or not Josh Allen is able to stay healthy this year because everyone is focusing more so on, okay, Allen being able to go out there and throw to Samuel, throw to Claypool, get Keon Coleman going. And in the midst of this, in the midst of all this, I keep saying this because I think it's a real point that we need to bring up. Whether or not Josh Allen is going to be able to stay healthy this year. Because at the end of the day, when you look at any kind of injury he's only had an elbow injury that we know of. And that he actually fought through. And at some point, the body I don't care what you eat. I don't care how much you work out. I don't care how much conditioning you do. At some point, the body is going to give way upon some kind of contact. And if Allen keeps getting hit, if Allen keeps taking the shots that he do and that we know he can, something is eventually going to give way. And so, obviously, with Trubisky coming back and him knowing the offense, there's going to be questions as whether or not he can do what he needs to do as far as on that field. There's a lot that goes into it, and like I said, we'll obviously cover a lot of that in July. Um, but I think at the end of the day, that's going to be the reality of what I'm looking at more so as far as with the Bills, right? Josh Allen's conditioning, Josh Allen's throwing, his accuracy. You know, I was looking at some of the stats the other day, and it says that he was number one for avoiding sacks in the league at this point. So there are areas that he's improved in for sure. You know, they always talk about the interceptions and things like that. Sure, you can talk about the interceptions and things like that, but at the end of the day, he's gotten better. He's became better with his accuracy. He's been better as far as in his decision making. So the question is this year, can the chips all fall into place? Can the pieces and the puzzle pieces all fall into place when it comes to these Bills? But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Shout out to you, Jonas. Much love, you. Tadeo says Tennessee won the College World Series. Let's go. Shout out to Tennessee. Let's go. Tadeo, yeah, yesterday was a good sports day. Florida won the Stanley Cup. Yeah, listen, I didn't get a chance to really watch, but I was getting the highlights and all the updates back and forth. And yeah, shout out to Florida, man. Florida winning. I thought the Oilers would take it, but Florida came out there and handled business. The Stanley Cup champions. Tadeo says, kind of sports related, kind of the Netflix American Gladiators documentary was crazy, eye opening. I remember people loved it. Listen, I wish that they would bring back the American Gladiators. Do you know, like, I just remember the feeling as a younger kid watching American Gladiators. It was almost like watching the NFL for me. Like, you're sitting down, you're watching them do all kinds of stuff, the obstacle courses and fighting, and all that kind of stuff. And it was it was so different. And I wish they would bring it back or at least find a way to make it something new. That'd be great. That'd be great for sure. Reverend, what's going on, Reverend, in the house? Reverend Nelson in the building says, yo, what's that smell? Is that football with Jay? That it is. Yeah, man. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Hope you and your family are doing well, my friend. Doing well. Cameron says, Jay, what's your opinion on the Receiver show on Netflix? You think it's going to be good or no? What's the Receiver show? What is that? I know they're talking about doing another season of the one show. It's like the Gridiron Show or something like that, and they were going to do it for next season, and they had it figured out as far as the different quarterbacks that they were going to showcase in that show. But yeah, I didn't see anything on the Receiver show. I'll tell you what I did watch. I watched The Nature Boy. That was a very good documentary. Shout out to Ric Flair. That was a very, very good documentary. I really enjoyed it. Ric Flair, he's like, after watching that documentary, I say he's a different individual. He's a different individual, and it was great for me growing up watching Ric Flair because he was just one of those wrestlers that just resonated with you and will never be forgotten for sure. For sure. Shout out to you, Tactical. Kojak, yeah, man. Y'all know. Y'all already know. So yeah, like I said, this is kind of just like a mini promo for 32 and 31. I'm excited for it for numerous reasons. Obviously, we get back to football, we prepare for the preseason, we cover all 32 teams, and we go A through or in alphabetical order. So we'll be starting with the Cardinals, obviously, Arizona Cardinals, and we'll break each team down. We'll cover it, like I said, about an hour, 2 hours maybe, depending on, how the flow goes. But we break everything down from the roster, the new pickups, the schedule, and then we give our thoughts, we give our ideas as far as the good, the bad, and everything in between. And we do that for each team, and it's always a good time. So make sure that you guys are here for that. In the meantime, I do want to get into some baseball. Baseball is starting to really heat up. Um, we obviously just got through with the Stanley Cup. We got through with the finals, all that kind of stuff. So now baseball is going to get into it. Then we got the World Series. We have fun during the World Series, so we'll get into that. But yeah, July is football month, y'all. July is football month. We are back to the NFL. And like I said, I'm excited. It's been too long. We need a year-round football league, right? I get they got the XFL and all that and the Canadian Football League. No, we need year-round NFL. All right, year-round NFL, and even if you don't have the top-paying talent playing beyond the regular in the postseason, maybe we could have you know the other individuals who weren't really playing, or different individuals who are NFL talent playing to maybe prove themselves for a spot in the NFL. That would be something that's really, really cool if they could figure that out. And that way we could have year round football. It'd be great. Tadigo says IFL and AFL just isn't the same. Yeah, it's not. There is a gap. There is a gap in the skill level. And you can tell. It's really weird. And it's like the marketing isn't there, the skill set is somewhat not really there. You can just tell it's a little bit off, and it's wild because you would rather watch college than the CFL, IFL, the AFL. You'd literally rather watch college than those. So that just shows the issue that those specific games, or those specific leagues are having as far as drawing any kind of footprint, and how the NFL just dominates completely in the monopoly that it has. Um, but I can also understand as far as why the NFL wants to branch out into the international space, because then it could make sense to have year-round NFL. And I don't get me wrong, I know the NFL is trying to figure this out as well. Because listen, year-round NFL means year-round money. So I think that's why they may be trying to branch out into the international games and get that going. Because then you can probably get some international teams, and then you'd have the year-round basis for having the games, because then you could switch from, okay, the the American or the National Football League Buffalo Bills only play the regular season up into the postseason and the Super Bowl, and then after that you have, I'm just making this up, spitballing it, but the UK Buffalo Bills play after season up until the regular season for football. So it could be something like that that may make sense that they're trying to gear towards, which would be cool. But then once again, we are running into this situation as far as, is the talent going to be good enough? We'll see. We'll see. Was the World Football League that bad? Yeah, I mean, listen, can you name any real stars from the WFL? And I'm not talking like past NFL players that have went over there that were elite. I'm talking about like real players that you could name off that actually had this huge impact that you were like, damn, I wish they played in the NFL. I don't really, I can't name anybody. And I think anyone would be really hard pressed to do it, unfortunately. So I think that's the reality of it. I think they're gonna have to figure out as far as how they would do it, as far as creating that kind of league, because it would be beneficial not only for the watchers, but it would be beneficial for um, the NFL as well, without a doubt. So I wanted to get into this next story. I wanted to get into this next story, and this story is in regards to the Sunday ticket. We're talking about football. We're talking about the NFL moving forward. Let's get into the the Sunday ticket here. I did not want that. Let's see if I can get this to work. All right, that's not what I wanted. So let's take that off. Delete that. Come on, Jay, get it together. All right, so I wanted to talk about this Sunday ticket story, and I think it's really important because this is definitely going to change some things as far as how we're watching these games and how they're being provided for sure. Okay, so let me get this up here and get this on the screen for you guys. And there's been a lot of drama surrounding it too, so I definitely want to touch on this topic. Here we go. All right. So jury is to let me get over here. Jury is to begin deliberations in NFL Sunday ticket trial. Let's go ahead and play this here.
Roger Goodell is going to point out how much money they're negotiating one game for.
Yeah.
So whenever you're talking about like people being able to carte blanche games, like that isn't that kind of works against our business that we already have. We sell this package. This is how much it is. It is a premium product. You can put 4 on TV at one time. You can literally watch whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. We got a Red Zone channel with this guy who somehow doesn't pee for the entire day, also available as one of the options. It's like, yeah, maybe ESPN want to do it for $70, but we chose for our business not to go with ESPN.
Yeah, nor will we ever
do
$7.
Like, I feel like that's all I can say. I don't like it. I think it's better for fans to be cheaper. Obviously, our show, always free, is free, will remain free. Like, I believe in that mantra of like, hey, if people can't afford it, they should still be able to enjoy party. And I think the NFL probably feels that way with the local deals that they have.
So yeah, I mean, he was talking about the guy that is on the Red Zone that doesn't seem like he can pee or seem like he pees for multiple hours. That would be me. That would be me. When I'm going in for 8 hours straight, or we're doing 3 games in one day, that's your boy Jay. But no, the reality is this. The NFL obviously is a for-profit league. And at the end of the day, when you have these kind of situations and there's a monopoly created on as far as who gets what and how much they're going to license these games for and where they're going to go and how much you as a consumer pay, the issue becomes, okay, can we make an affordable product, right? We understand that the NFL is a premium product. That's why we're all waiting for it now. But at the same time, you want the game available to the masses. And there's a reason why this channel exists. There's a reason why I exist. There's a reason why our community exists of over 70,000 people. We provided a different kind of entertainment, a different kind of level where people can come together, watch the games, and have fun. Now, the way that the NFL works is they want you to pay for something. They want you to pay for either your local cable. They want you to pay for YouTube TV. They want you to pay for some kind of streaming service, whether it's 5, 70, 100, 300. They want you to pay something. Now, obviously, they want you to pay for multiple different streaming services as well, whether it's Amazon, Peacock, whatever it is. At the end of the day, the problem is they're not creating an alternative that's truly affordable for the masses. Because I'll be honest with you, I have this conversation from time to time. People thank me for doing what we do because they don't have access to these kind of streaming services, or they don't have access to these specific channels or cable, or hell, if they're overseas, they may not have access to these specific games because they're blacked out internationally. That's just the reality of it. That's why you'll have people from Australia popping in, Japan popping in, Germany, wherever they are, but we have an international community essentially. So this is the reason why. But let's go in and get into the story. Let's go and get into the story. It says the jury in the class action lawsuit filed by Sunday Ticket subscribers against the NFL is expected to begin deliberations on Wednesday after both sides wrapped up their cases on Monday. U.S. District Judge Philip Gutierrez will have a conference with attorneys for both sides Tuesday morning to determine final jury instructions. Gutierrez could also hear a motion from the NFL on Tuesday afternoon to grant judgment as a matter of a law to the league because the plaintiffs did not provide enough evidence. Gutierrez will then give final instructions to the jury of 5 men and 3 women Wednesday morning before final arguments begin. Each side will get 1 hour, 10 minutes to make their statements, with the plaintiffs getting an additional 20 minutes for rebuttal. The NFL's final witness was Stanford economics professor B. Douglas Bernheim, whose testimony began last Tuesday and wrapped up Monday morning. Bernheim reiterated the league's position that selling out-of-market Sunday afternoon games on Fox and CBS to DirecTV from 94 to 22 and now Google YouTube TV benefits the fan and creates level competition on the playing field. So, to me, this would be bullshit for a couple of reasons. It's not creating a good opportunity for the fans because some people who have DirecTV don't want to leave DirecTV and get YouTube TV. If you have some kind of a package deal or you're grandfathered in over on DirecTV, you're not going to want to leave them to go get UTV to be able to get the Sunday Ticket. It's completely stupid. But obviously, you would have an economics professor say this on behalf of the NFL because there's money involved. There's people getting paid. There's billions of dollars involved in this. It doesn't help the consumer. It helps the NFL. Well, let's keep it going. Harvard professor Einar Ullhage, rebuttal witness for the plaintiffs, contended there were no links between the restraints the league put in to make Sunday Ticket a premium package and creative competitive balance. Ullhage also testified that the approximately $62.5 million each team gets per year from Sunday Ticket would not cause massive ramifications to the league's salary cap or a team's operating budget. This is amazing. Let me go back to this. Testified that the approximate $62.5 million each team gets per year from Sunday Ticket would not cause massive ramifications to the league's salary cap or team's operating budget. How amazing is that? Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones also testified last week that if he was able to sell his out-of-market rights, he would not be in favor of a salary cap. The class action, which covers 2.4 million residential subscribers and 48,000 businesses who paid for the package of out-of-market games from the 2011 through 22 seasons, claimed the league broke antitrust laws by selling its package of Sunday games aired on CBS and Fox at an inflated price. The subscribers also say the league restricted competition by offering Sunday Ticket only on a satellite provider. So yeah, this situation is going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess because things are going to change, specifically how the NFL may have to offer these games and may have to change as far as the packages go. Now, obviously, you guys know I don't get too worried about the politics as far as what game is on what because I'm probably just going to pay for it anyway. But that's not to say that there shouldn't be changes because, to be honest, I don't want it to get to a point where I'm paying thousands of dollars for all these networks and streaming services just for us to be able to come together and watch these games and for me to commentate on them. So yeah, there's definitely something that needs to happen. There's definitely something that needs to be fixed. We'll have to see how this NFL Sunday Ticket situation plays out in court with the NFL. I will obviously keep you guys updated, and we'll go from there. If you end up watching this later, or if you're just coming in, ladies and gentlemen, 32 and 31 starts July 1st. We're going to cover all 32 teams in alphabetical order. We will stream 32 and 31 every night starting in July at 8 p.m. Make sure you're here. Make sure you do subscribe. click that bell, turn on your notifications, that way you don't miss a stream. Also, if you have ideas and recommendations that you want to talk about while we do 32 and 31, make sure you leave them in the comments down below. I will take everything you guys say into consideration, and we'll go from there. In the meantime, shout out to all you guys. Much love to the Wrench Gang. Much love to the family. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all July 1st for 32 and 31. Have a good day. Peace out.